Okay. So yesterday someone was asking me the case study questions. So I would like to just show you this case study questions, something like that. The case study, so what it is says is as the industry. So this is one case study where the industry into a smart shipping era. The risk of cyber threats is it an all-time high. Digitalized shipping, increasing interconnects. This is interconnectedness, the extended use of electronic data exchange and electronic navigation increases the childhood of cyber attacks in variety, frequency, and sophistication. Cyber threats are one of the most serious economic and international security challenge facing the maritime industry today. So, based on this, the case study has been given for in your question paper, but I'm sure that you people definitely will, if you study the ppts what I've given, definitely you can even both innovative question as well as case study questions you can write. So the case study was prepared on the basis of real life snapshots of a company where the ship owner, technical operation manager, and crew manager, and how they, in the early stages, are evaluating and implementing a program of cybersecurity for their ship with the online connectivity. We have posted several general questions to the company on general subjects to help scope how this company is initially viewing cybersecurity and their effort to organize internally by assigning responsibilities and allocating resource of staff and budget. Comments are made at a high level and are included under the section further consideration. They have been proposal, general in nature, to help identify certain concepts that may be of help. So, including, it should be recognized that this is not an all inclusion guidelines or evaluation and does not critically assess their efforts. It is rather intended to contribute the higher discussion of maritime cybersecurity by exposure to what is like typical case and find some value of their cybersecurity efforts. Comments are encouraged on the Cyrus shipping chamber to improve the document and to be better prepare of future case study. So they just give the company description. They say that describe your company in terms of fleet size, ship type, number of employees, and number of office worldwide. So we are, so you can write how many ships are there. Maybe we have 100 ships, which included the tanker, bulker, and container ships. We employ directly how many employees? Maybe 3,000 employees. That's what I gave you. You could just approximately would have written in 7 offices worldwide. The company operates as an owner and technical operator, including crewing service. So then, why is the company implementing cybersecurity? So driving this shipping company, cybersecurity initiates is the increasing awareness of the invasive nature of cyber criminal activity in the shipping industry. The cyber threat has imposed an elevated cybersecurity related risk awareness from ship owner. The company board of directors, cargo owner, and legal and regulatory bodies such as TMSAIM. So something like this you could have written. And further readings, what is reducing the risk, how the ship enterprise, the company employees, knowing uh, who is using the ship networks, cyber incidents. So that's what the cyber security is. So then driving the cyber security for fleet. Currently, the company is undergoing transaction from a current fleet broadband communication service to a higher broadband capable VSAT system. This open to the internet. Situation will drive the company towards more vigilance and the need for cybersecurity program to be built in the place. So then moving to BSAT for a fleet broadband, FBB, that's what a fleet broadband, how it is been, how does VSAT broadband change to view of a ship cybersecurity? Then shipping cybersecurity company administration. So how the cybersecurity company helps in company's administration. That's what we have to explain. The cybersecurity committee has been established and in the process of creating the shipping and office procedures with regards to cybersecurity. This will be ongoing and constantly updating procedure. So in the same way, shipping cybersecurity threat prevention and defense. So how the shipping cybersecurity threats prevention and defense. Then shipping response. Describe how a shipping cybersecurity event may be handled. Who is a person above who has the overall responsibility of shipping cybersecurity. Then cybersecurity updates on board, monitoring the log files and alerts, antivirus, third-party assessment, cybersecurity hardware, crew online behavior, ship network design as it applies to a cybersecurity. How are you addressing the cybersecurity training? Shipping cybersecurity incident plan. Describe how you backup and restore the shipping network. Third party assessment. Then general data protection regulations, how the cybersecurity data should be protected. So these are the key information, and this is about the case study. Our question will be there. Okay. So the last few classes we have started with a fifth unit, and we are at the verge of completing the fifth unit. Okay, so we have small topic in the last fifth unit. So before I start, today is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I would like to do revision after your internals. I will try to complete your syllabus. So we have stopped in the last class. I didn't give the questions completely from second unit. That's the reason I would like to start second module, and I'll not take much time. I'll go fast because it's a revision thing. So in the second module, what you will be learning is tools. What are the tools we are using and what is the method used in a cyber crime. So this is what the textbook I told. Then as the internet and computer network are integral part of information system, attackers have in-depth knowledge about the technology and or they gain through knowledge about it. The basic stage of an attack are initial uncovering. The first step called as a reconnaissance. The attacker gather information as much as possible about the target by legitimate means. In the second step, the attacker uncover as much information as possible on the company internal network. So network probe, a ping swipe of network IP address is performed to seek out potential targets, and then port scanning tools is used to discover exactly when the services are running out of target system. Crossing the inline towards electronic crime, that is e-crime. Now the attacker is towards committing what is technical computer crime by exploiting possible holes on a target system. Capturing the network. At this stage, the attacker attempts to own the network. The attacker gains a foothold in the internal network quickly and easily. grab the data. Now that the attackers have captured the network, he or she takes advantage of his or her position to steal confidential data. Customer credit card information, deface web page, alter, process, and even launch attacks to other sites of your network. Then covering attacks. This is the last step in any cyber attacks, which refers to the activities undertaken by the attacker to extend misuse of a system without being detected. Then what is proxy server and anonymizer? Proxy means it is not actual thing. So now you say proxy server. Suppose Srinivas is absent, then Sunil is saying his attendance. Then we say it is a proxy. In the same way,
Ma'am, Srinivas is present now.
I was just joking. See now here, proxy means it is not actual server, replacement of that server. So then we call it as a proxy server. And anonymizer, the proxy server is a computer on a network which acts as an intermediary for connection with the other computer on that network. A proxy server has the following purpose. Why do we use a proxy server? Keep the system behind the curtain, speed up access to resource. Sometimes if it is a legal, then proxy server can be used. If it is a illegal, then proxy server becomes a problem. So maybe sometimes Sunil's network is not problem. Then if Srinivas says attendance, I have to accept because it is a genuine problem. So the same way here, the proxy server also, sometimes if legally, if I want to speed up the communication, then we may use the proxy server. Speed up the access to the resource through caching. Specialized proxy server are used to filter unwanted content such as advertisements. So now you can see, even when we move on to the online, definitely we'll get a advertisement, and that to see how clever they are. They give skip this ad only after some seconds. After some seconds only, they give option for us to skip. So that's how the advertisements also, if we don't want, then we can say advertisement can be skipped. Proxy server can be used as IP address multiplexer to enable to connect number of computers on the internet whenever one has only one IP address. An anonymizer or an anonymous proxy is a tool that attempts to make activity on the internet untraceable. It accesses the internet on the user's behalf, protecting personal information by hiding the source computer's identify information. Phishing is a fake or a false email which can infect system with, in addition to stealing personal and financial data. How phishing works? Fisher works in the following ways: plan, decide the target, to set up, create methods for delivering the message, and collect the data about the target. Then attack, Fisher sends a phony message. Then collection, record the information of the victim. Then identify theft and fraud, use the information that they have gathered to the illegal purchase or commit the fraud. So then password, how do we crack the password? Password cracking is a process of recovering password from data that have been stored in or transmitted by a computer system. Examples of guessable password include blank, that is you don't give anything, that is a blank. The password like the words like password, passcode, and admin, we generally give something like that. Then series of letters from a quater keyboard, for example quater ASDF or quater UniIPO. So these are some ways of series of letters what we give. So then username or a login name. So generally what we give our names. So that is one thing. And one more thing, if we use some other laptops, your friends or somebody else's laptops, we should be very careful enough when we have to close that and come login IDs. Though we don't have passwords, then also the name of the user, friends or relative or pet. User's birthplace or date of birth or relative or a friend's. User vehicle's number, office number, residence number, or mobile number. Name of celebrity who is considered to be an idol. Example, actors, actresses, spiritual gurus by the user. Simply modification of one of the preceding, such as suffix, a digit, particularly one, or reversing the order of letters. Password cracking attacks can be classified under three categories as follows: online attack, offline attack, non electronic attacks. Example, social engineering, show surfing, and dumpster driving. So, then online attack. So, the most popular online attack is man in middle attack. So, how do the attacks happens in the online? They generally man in middle. So, attack also termed as bucket brigade attack. So, this is an attack generally they use for online. It is a form of active wave eavesdropping in which the attacker establishes a connection between a victim and the server to which the victim is connected. So this is how the online attacks will be happening. The same way offline attacks. So the other day in the class, I showed you how the Facebook people are tracking us even though we are in the offline. So I asked you to switch off the setting. Same way here also offline attacks. So offline attacks usually require physical access to the computer and copying the password files from the system into the removable media. A strong, weak, random passwords. A weak password is one which could be easily guessed, short, common, and a system default password that could be easily found by executing a brute force attack and by using a subset of all possible passwords. A strong password is long enough, random, or otherwise difficult to guess, producible only by the user who choose it. A random password is strong if it includes a mix of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and other symbols when allowed for the same number of characters. The general guidelines applicable to the password policies are keylogger and spywares, keystroke logging, practice of notifying or lodging the keystroke on a keyboard. Keystroke logging or a keylogger is a quicker and easier way of capturing the password and monitoring the victim's IT seva behavior. It can be classified as a software keylogger and a hardware keylogger. So then what is software keylogger? Software keylogger or the software programs installed at the computer, which usually are locked between the operating system and a keyboard, and even keystroke is recorded. So then keylogger is usually keylogger. One second. One second. I'll just only 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. So software key login, a keylogger, a keylogger, software keylogger are software programs installed on the computer okay installed on the computer network, which usually are located between the OS and the keyboard hardware, and even every keystroke is recorded. A keylogger is usually consist of two files that get installed on the same directory, DLL, dynamic link library file, and executable files that install the DLL file and trigger it to the work. Then hardware keylogger are small hardware device connected to the PC and or to the keyboard and save every keystroke into a file or the memory of the hardware device. Can even say, so in your mobile, some app is been installed and it is hidden, and in another mobile means it is connected, and they can see what are all things you are doing. Can anyone say which app it is? You got it? You understood what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, so suppose your two friends. One friend has the mobile and he has used the mobile and he installed some app and he hide that particular app and he linked to his mobile and he start whatever his friend is doing, he is able to monitor. So can you give me what is that app? Anybody knows that app? Anybody can answer? Yes, such type of apps are available. So here what the other person, he's hidden the application or app what he has downloaded, and he has given all the details, and he is able to connect to his mobile and he is able to watch what his friend is doing. Such type of apps are available just to monitor. So in same way, even you'll be knowing smart watches with the GPS, so that whenever the kids, small kids, if they are going somewhere out of the bus or it has been something, some issues with the small kids, they'll not be knowing. So then we can track with their watches, because in that you can monitor. So that's about apps available. So in the same way here, software keylogger and hardware keylogger. Anti-keylogger is a tool that can be detect the keylogger installed on the computer system, and also can remove the tool. Firewall cannot detect the installation of keylogger on the system. Hence, the anti-keylogger can detect installation of keylogger. This software does not require regular updates of signature basis to work effectively, such as other antivirus and anti-spy programs. Prevent internet banking frauds. IP prevent IT theft. It secures email and instant message or chatting. Then spyware. Spyware is a malicious software created instantly on the user's personal computer. The spyware such as keylogger are installed by the owner of a shared corporate or a public computer on purpose to secretly monitor others' user. Virus and worms. Computer virus is a program that can infect legitimate programs by modifying them to include a possible evolved copy of itself. Viruses can take some typical actions, display a message to prompt an action which may set off the virus, delete files inside the system into which viruses enter, scramble data on the hardware, causes eradicate screen behavior, halt the PCs, halt the system, just replicate themselves to propagate further harm. The types of virus. So there are so many types of virus. The computer virus can be categorized based on attacks on various elements on the system and can put the system and personal data on the system in danger. Boot sector virus, program viruses, multi-parpate virus, stealth virus, polymorphic virus, macro viruses, ActiveX and Java control. Computer worm is a self-replicating malware computer program which uses a computer network to send copies of itself to other nodes, and it may do so without any user intervention. Then Trojan horses. Trojan horses is a program in which malicious or harmful code is contained inside apparently harmless programming or data in such a way that it can get control and cause harms. Trojans can get into the system in a number of ways, including from a web browser via email or in a bundle with other software downloaded from the internet. Unlike virus, or worms, Trojan do not replicate themselves, but they can be equally destructive. On the surface, Trojan appears big and harmless, but once the infected code is executed, Trojan kicks in and performs malicious functions to harm the computer system without the user's knowledge. So, backdoor is a means of access to a computer program that bypasses security mechanism. A program may sometimes install a backdoor, so that the program can be accessed for troubleshooting or other purpose. An attacker often use backdoor that they detect or install themselves as a part of a exploit. In some cases, a worm is designed to take advantage of a backdrop created by an earlier attack. How to protect from Trojan horse and backdoors? Stay away from suspect websites and web link. Surf on a web cautiously. Install antivirus Trojan remover software. Stignography, it is a method that attempts to hide the existence of a message or communication. The word stignography makes from two Greek words. Stigno means covered and graph in meaning to write. So that's what here, to write, that means concealed writing. Stigma analysis. Stigma analysis is the art and science of detecting messages that are hidden in messages, or it can be with audio and video files using a stignography. Um, automated tools are used to detect such stignography. So there are some tools to know whether is there any hidden messages. Stignographed data information hidden in the image and audio or video files. So then denial of service attack, DOS attack, or distributed denial of service attack, is an attempt to make a computer resource unavailable to its intended user. Then DOS attack, the attacker floods the bandwidth of the victim's network or of files, his email box with spam email depriving him of a service he is entitled to access or provide it. The goal of DOS is not to gain unauthorized access to system or data, but to prevent intended user or legitimate user of a service from using it. Flood a network with traffic, thereby preventing the legitimate network traffic. Disturbed connections between two systems, thereby preventing access to service, distribute service to a specific system or a person. So DOS attack, in a DOS attack, an attacker may use your computer to attack another computer by taking advantage of security vulnerability or weakness. An attacker could take control of your computer. He or she could then force your computer to send huge amount of data to a website, or send spam to a particular email address. DOS attack is a distributed DOS wherein a large number of zombie systems are synchronized to attack a particular system. So the zombie system are called secondary victim, and the main target is called as a primary victim. Distributed DOS attack involves hard code coding the target IP address prior to release of the malware. Hence, no further interaction is necessary to launch the attack. To launch the attack. Hence, no further interaction is necessary to launch the attack. A system may also be compromised with a Trojan, allowing the attacker to download a zombie agent. How to protect from DOS or DOS attack? Implement router files filters. If such filters are available for your system, install patches to guard against TCP and sync flooding. Disable any unused or inessential network service. Enable quota system on your OS if they are available. Observe your system performance and establish baseline for ordinary activity. Routinely examine routinely examine your physical security with regard to your current needs. Use tripwire or similar tool to detect changes in configuration information or other files. Invest in and maintain hot spares machine that can be placed into service quickly if a similar machine is disabled. Event Invest in redundant and fault tolerant network configuration. Establish and maintain regular backup schedules and policies, particularly for important configuration information. Establish and maintain appropriate password policies, especially access to highly privileged accounts such as Unix root or Microsoft Windows NT administrator. Then how do we do with the SQL injection? SQL injection is a code injection technique that exploits a security vulnerability occurring in the database layer of the application. The vulnerability is present when the user input is either filtered incorrectly for string literal escape character embedded in SQL statement, or user input is not strongly typed and thereby unexpectedly executed. Attacker target the SQL server, common database server used by many organizations to store confidential data. During an SQL injection attack, malicious code is inserted into a web form field or the website code to make a system execute a command shell or other arbitrary command. Just as legitimate user enters queries and addition to the SQL database via a web form, the attacker can insert command to the SQL server through a same web form field. A blind SQL injection is used when the web application is vulnerable to an SQL injection, but the result of the injections are not yet to the attacker. The page with the vulnerability may not be only one that displays data. However, it will display differently depending on the results of the logical statement injected into the legitimate SQL statement called for that page. Using SQL injection, attackers can obtain some basic information if the purpose of attack is resonance. May gain access to the database by obtaining username and their password, added new data to the database, modify data currently in the database. How to prevent SQL injection attacks? SQL injection attacks occur due to poor website administrator and coding. The following steps can take to prevent SQL injection: input validation, modify error report, other preventions. The default system account for the SQL Server 2000 should never be used. Isolated database server and web server both should reside on different machines. Most often, attackers may make use of several extended stored procedures such as XP, Comet Cell, and XP Grant login in SQL injection attacks. In case such extended stored procedure are not used to have unused triggers, stored procedure, user defined functions, etc., then these should be moved to an isolated server. Buffer overflow occurs when a program or a process tries to store more data in a buffer than it was intended to hold. As a buffer are created to obtain a finite amount of data, the extra information can overflow into adjacent buffer, corrupting or overwriting the valid data held in them. Though it may occur accidentally through programming error, buffer overflow is an increasingly common type of security attack on data integrity. Types of buffer overflow: stack based buffer overflow, NOPs. Stack based buffer overflow. Stack buffer overflow occurs when a program writes to a memory address on the program call stack outside the intended data structure, usually a fixed length buffer. The attackers may exploit stack based buffer overflows to manipulate the program in various ways by overwriting. So NOPs, no operation or no operation performed, is an assembly language which enables the developer to force memory aligned to act as a placeholder to be replaced by active instructions later on in the program development. NOP opcode can be used to form an NOP slide which allow code to execute when the exact value of the instruction pointer is determined. Heap buffer overflow occurs when a heap data area, when an application copies more data into uh, to execute when the exact value of the instruction pointer is intermediate. Heap buffer overflow occurs when the heap data area, when an application copies more data into a buffer than the buffer was designed to contain. How to minimize uh, buffer overflow? The following methods will definitely help to minimize such attacks: assessment of secure code manually, disable attack stack execution compiler tool, dynamic runtime checks. Various tools are used to detect or defend buffer overflow. Attacks on wireless networks: even when people travel, they still need to work. The employee is no longer tied to an office location and is in effect boundaryless. Uh, the following are different types of mobile workers: theater, remote worker, roaming user, normed, road wearer. Wireless networks extend the range of traditional wired network by using radio waves to transmit data to wireless enabled device such as laptops and PDS. Wireless network are generally composed of two basic elements: access points, other wireless enabled service device such as laptops, radio transmitters, and receivers to communicate uh, or connect with each other. So that's what here we can see. This is how the wireless networks. So traditionally we were using a wire, a wireless and a modem was there, but now it is not required any wire. So we use a wireless things. So even in our mobiles also, what we have started doing, we are using a wireless networks. Traditional techniques of attack on wireless network: penetration of wireless network through unauthorized access system as a wireless crack. There are various methods that demand high level of technological skills and knowledge, and availability of numerous software tools made it less sophisticated with minimum technology skills to crack WLANs. Maybe sniffing, spoofing, denial of service, man in middle attack, then encryption cracking. Theft of internet hours and Wi-Fi based frauds and misuse. Wireless network into home enables the internet on the fingertips of a home user. In case, unfortunately, he or she visits a malicious web page, the router is exposed for the attacks. As the networks become stronger and more prevalent, more of the signals are available outside of the home of a subscribe, spilling over into a neighbor's apartment hall and the street. Be careful with use of WAP when you are using WAP to gain access to computer on a network. Be aware of local laws, legislation when you are doing it, because things can become dangerous from security and privacy as well as a legal perspective. How to secure the wireless networks? I'll stop here. We'll continue in the next class. Answer your attendance: Amrish,
Yes, ma'am.
Anu,
Present, ma'am.
Ashok,
Present, ma'am.
Benita,
Present, ma'am.
Bhavishya,
Present, ma'am.
Chaitra,
Present, ma'am.
Diksha, Deepika,
Present, ma'am.
Murli Krishna, Harshit,
Present, ma'am.
Kishore,
Present, ma'am.
Present, ma'am.
Manjunath,
Yes, ma'am.
Nayana,
Yes, ma'am.
Nilanjan, Nishant,
Present, ma'am.
Rajeshwari, Ramya,
Present, ma'am.
Present, ma'am.
Rashmi,
Present, ma'am.
Srinivas,
Present, ma'am.
Sunil. So stop here. We'll continue in the next class. Thank you.